Hey guys, it's Pat from Pat's Brewery, and this video's got a lot of brew day footage. I think 25 minutes. So after the little intro bit, if you're not interested in the brew day footage, skip forward. As I say, about 25 minutes, then you'll come back for the tasting of Yellow Snow. Ooh, Yellow Snow. That's right. So mentioned in a couple of videos back following the Shed Festival that my favourite beer was Yellow Snow, brewed by Nick, and I reached out to him and got the recipe, and I've decided that that's the next beer I'm going to be brewing. With regards to the recipe, hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing it with you, but effectively I got it pre-made from the malt miller, so you know, using their recipe builder, so you didn't have to buy anything out. But what have we got in here? We have got, in this one it was just the base malt, which was Marisota, so just short of 4 kilos. Then with regards to specialty grains, well, not so specialty, but yeah, the other grains, we went with some dark crystal, about 90 grams of that. Same with caramel malt, some melanoidin malt, some pale wheat, and then the thing that makes it an oatmeal pale is the crisp flaked oats. So the way that I'm brewing this beer, and the way I kind of saw this beer was, you know, the opposite of a black IPA. This is, in my eyes, it's like a white stout. He didn't sell it like that on the Shed Festival, but when I was drinking it, it did. That's what kind of drew my mind. And I've never had or tried to do a white stout. It's a bit of a, does it really exist, or is it just an oatmeal pale? But yeah, so that's why I'm brewing this, and I'm also doing it using a stout water profile, and making sure I put in plenty of body. So we're going to be mashing at 67 rather than the normal 65. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. We'll see how it all goes. I'm only doing a single batch of the beer today, so not sure what the efficiency is quite going to be like. The efficiencies for double batches have got really good, so I'm expecting maybe a little bit of a drop, I don't know. But yeah, we're just bringing the water up to temp. There's still plenty of stuff that I need to do to get ready for the day, but we'll go from there. So while we're waiting for the water to come up to temp, I've been doing a lot of close-ups recently and not run through where we're at with regards to the whole brewery, so I thought I'd do a little walk through. So we're still not as tidy as I want it to be. It never is, but we've done a little bit more tidying. So all the things that I need to generally access on a brew day is now on that shelf, apart from these things here. They probably need to be moved, but anyway, all my chemicals are now there, and all general tools are there, so things like hydrometers and temperature probes. I've actually pulled some of them over onto my get ready kind of bench over there. With regards to, obviously we can see the fermenter in the floor. We done that, gave that a very thorough clean yesterday, with some sodium bicarbonate. Also done a rinse through with water and then star sand, so that should be good to go. I'll probably give it another spray with the old star sand before anything goes in there today. Got to still weigh out my chemicals, so got my little station set up there. Grains are in place. You'll notice that at the moment my sparge arm isn't attached. That's so when I do the roll off, it doesn't, the grains don't block up the actual sparge arm. Yeah, I mean, heating pad will need to be wrapped around the fermenter as well, but I think we're under control. Right, yeah, so let's just weigh out the chemicals. So rather than film the way out, I'll just tell you what we're doing. So we're using pretty much everything, but just a little bit of everything. So baking soda, we are using 0.5 of a gram. We got some AMS, and we're going to be using 0.6 milliliters. So that's going to be hard to measure out. We've got some calcium chloride. We're going to be using 0.7 of a gram. We have some chalk. This is the biggest addition. We're actually going to be using 7.6 grams of chalk. We are going with a stout style thing, so some chalky water there. We are using 0.7 grams of DBW, and we are using 2.5 grams of gypsum. Yes, I know that I'm still going through, I've got like 3 tubs of Youngs that I've had for ages. I've got a nice big fresh bag that I got from the malt miller, but I thought might as well use this stuff first. So that's what's going in, as well as because of the grain bills, I need to drop the pH quite a bit. So we're going to be using about 10 milliliters of lactic acid as well. Right, so we are transferring in, we're putting in about 24.5 litres, so we're currently at about 45 litres in here, so when it gets down to just above 20, we should be fine. Transferring in, let's say we're looking for a mash temperature of 67, so I'm gonna take it nice and slow with regards to the transfer. Don't forget the liquid, including the lactic. Okay, went a little bit over with the water, was meant to end up about there, but I'm not too concerned, it's fine. We have reached 67.2, that's probably going to raise up a little bit, so I'm going to leave the top of the mash tun off for just another minute while I stir, and then what we'll do is we'll cover over and start our mash timer. So no dough balls, all thanks to the wonderful thing that is underletting. That'll probably do us 68. I'm not too concerned about an extra degree. 68.2. Oh, maybe I will leave the top off for a little bit longer. Let's start the brew day. Mash timer. So it's 45 minutes. Then I get a reminder and I extend it for 15 to do the roll off. And since I am filming every part of this brew day, I'm going to make sure that I feature the unsung hero, the convenient small tub. Convenient because if it's under things, it can easily be allowed to pick up any of the drippings as I do stuff. Alright, just something to call out before I start making noise again. We are reconnected the pipework back to recirculate the HLT. We're going to be keeping that at about 75 C, so that when we do sparge it's nice and hot. If I was doing a double batch at this point, we'd normally be topping up back up to the top for a fuller sparge, but for this batch I think we're only looking at sparging about 10 litres ish. So yeah, if we're just below 20 it'll be fine, because this actually has a dip tube that will pick up down the bottom. So, you know, no fill up of water needed. Obviously, if I was going to look at doing a Herms coil, that wouldn't be enough water in there. So that's where we've got to start thinking, you know, would a HLT actually be worthwhile? Oh dear, I know, people suggest it, but don't know. And while we're waiting for the mash, just want to show off my fancy new beer fridge. Yeah. So one of the wife's friends having the kitchen redone, and they were getting rid of this fridge, so happily acquired it. I did have to get rid of one of my old fridges to fit the space, but it's nice. You know, you've got room for selection of beers. So that's, funny enough, some of the Citra Pilsner, which I bottled by mistake. I didn't realise what was hooked up to the iTap at the time. We still got a couple bottles of the Czech Pilsner, so might actually have one of those tonight. Still got Pat's Porridge Oatmeal Stout and a bottle of the Southpaw. This one, again based on the bulbousness, although look, check out that for bulbous. Whoa. I think this one might be the mild, I'm not 100%. And then I've still got a can of the Siren Sierra Nevada clone. So I do want to try and brew that again at some point. Then what do we have in here? These are my yeast supplies. I know, looking very, very small. Now, why are they separated? Well, these yeasts here have been assigned brew days. So today I think we're using the Lallemand. It's either Lallemand, Nottingham, or the Old English. I think it's Lallemand today. And then obviously USO 5 classics have also been assigned to some future brews. But the best thing about this one is the freezer part, because although rather empty at the moment, we are able to store our hops. So let's get the hops out that I'll be using today. So we are using some North Down, only 15 grams. I know you guys are going, why do you have such a small bag of hops? Well, I've never used North Down pellets before, and I only needed it for this one recipe, and yeah, I thought why not. So we're using that, but we're also using some Columbus, I believe it is, the old Tomahawk. So where are those? I think I've got that one. Yeah, no, that's the Sage Northern Brewer. No, it must be in here somewhere, otherwise this brew day is going to get interesting. Here we are, the Columbus, we found it. Look at these packagings. You can tell I had these for a while. 2019 crop, 2020 crop, so they should still be good, but let's see. So the hops are weighed out, so it's 20 grams of Columbus for the 60-minute edition. Then when we hit 0 and start cooling down, we will be throwing in another 20 grams of Columbus and the 15 grams of North Down. So North Down, you've got to prove yourself with this beer. You know, I might buy some more of you, who knows. But yeah, I'm not, so it's no Whirlpool editions, it's at 0 that these are going in, but I'm not going to rush the cool down. I'm still going to probably do a little bit of a hop stand ish, but we're obviously not waiting for it to get down to 80 before throwing these in. See how that goes. You get some bitterness from them, but not loads. Yeah, see how that goes. Got plenty of time left on the mash still, so I think it's time for a cup of tea. So we've got 15 minutes left on the mash. So just starting a slow, slight roll off, letting it go through. We kept, well, it was a little bit high, was at 68 throughout the mash, even with the lid ajar. So normally roll off drops the temperature a little bit, so we're going to pop that lid on. I guess we're just living with a 68 degree mash this time. So again, that likelihood means that our final gravity is going to be a little bit higher. So we might not be hitting our targets, but we will see. We will see. Right, so a little bit before and after. So the mash is just about to finish. Our pipe work is going like that for our recirculation in the mash tun, and our pipe work is going like that for our HLT. This is before, I'll show you the after. And so here's the after. Our HLT goes into our mash tun, which goes into our sparge arm, and our mash tun and wort pump goes into me whirlpool arm, I guess, which is what I used to recirculate in there. So you see there's a bit of a handover. Right, let's get started on the sparge. But first, remember, turn that off. So just going to say that is a sexy colour. A classic sparge shot. So I'm not sparging constantly when doing a brew day. It's a case of we are constantly doing the transfer, but then we keep an eye on the levels within the mash tun, and then we're just topping it up whenever it gets to a certain point. So that's probably enough for now. So we'll stop it. And we'll probably leave it there for about 5 minutes and then run it again for a little bit. It's all about keeping the level about right. Right, so we've added all of our sparge water. Probably added a couple of litres more than the recommended sparge, but that's okay because obviously we don't need to transfer everything over. At the moment we've still got a fair bit of water in there, so that will start draining down as we continue to transfer in. So we're currently at just below 25, so we're looking for about 29 litres. Then what will happen is we'll boil off about 3, so to 26, allowing for maybe about 2 litres of dead space in the transfer over. So we should have about 23 litres in the fermenter, which will then allow us to get a full keg out of it. That's if it all works. You know, that's why I've added the extra sparge water, just so that actually I'm half tempted to go up to 30 litres, just so that I've got that extra little bit of leeway. Does it matter if the efficiency's not quite right? No, not really. We'll sort that out later. Right. Just a thought. What we'll do now is that the element and thermal well have been covered. Let's start getting the boil up to, we'll look for 80. That way, once everything's in there, it shouldn't take too long for us to reach the full boil. Nice. Okay, so we're at just about 29 litres. No grains are starting to come out of the mash tun yet, so what I've done is I've set the control panel to 98, which is actually boiling. Once it's got there, that's when I'm going to turn this off in a sec. I'm still transferring in the last bit, but I'm going to try and make sure that no grain comes through. So yeah, I have overshot with the sparge water, which may have had an impact on the gravity. Current gravity for pre-boil was meant to be at 1050, and I think I got about 1047-ish. So we'll see what the boil off results in, and we'll go from there. Just a thought, as we are about to come up to our boil, you can see a bit of steam, so we're going to turn on our extractor fan. It is wired over here, and it's about to get loud, so that's why I don't normally film this bit. So still got a little way to go before we hit a proper boil, but not too far. Yep, that's fine. So we have hit our boil. See there? I have to probably drop it down because I did throw it right up to 100, but I'll drop it down to 98 in a sec. But our timer has started, so in goes our 60-minute addition. Boom. Yeah, that's what we call a boil. And so some of the fun bits now. We have just drained what was remaining in the mash tun, catching any extra grains. So it was about 5, maybe just short of 5 litres maybe, which I know some of you may say, oh, you know, let's say 3 litres. So some of you may go, oh, there's sugars in them litres there, Pat, but I don't mind too much. We should be all right. Should be all right. So we're going to let this to continue to drain for a little bit. Then it's, you know, digging out the mash tun time. So after digging out, first thing to do is take the mash tun filter, the false bottom, give it a good clean. Tell you what, the best thing I ever did was get a decent sized sink added to the brewery. Now, when I say a nice clean, it mainly consists of a wash off. Don't feel like you need to do too much regarding clean because it's all hot side, chemical wise I mean. Main thing is to make sure that there's no grains there, and then I'll give it a spray with a bit of Star San. Now the bit that takes a bit longer is getting all of the grains out of the actual mash tun, because I cannot bring that over to the sink, so it's a bit of a you know, take the water over there, rinse it through and continue to use the grates. But yep, the best thing in the world is getting a sink in the garage. Okay, so we have got about 15 minutes left on the boil. So we are now recirculating through the plate chiller, get that sanitized. I already ran it through with Star San, but hot water, what can beat that with regards to sanitizing? Doing that though has resulted in a little bit of bubbles coming through, so maybe there's some Star San left in there. Oh well. But it has also dropped the temperature by just a degree, so but that's where we're at. Our boil off, maybe a little bit more than I planned. Might only leave it 5 minutes to sanitize the plate. Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so the next thing we'll be doing is the 0 minute hop addition. 0 minute addition time. North down, 15 grams. And a lot bit of Columbus. That's all in there nicely. Recirculating. Let's get this turned off. Okay, so we have got the internal temperature of the boil kettle down to 67.5, and I took a temperature reading and it was recirculating out at 21 degrees. So we are now transferring into the fermenter. So it is open transfer, and we're going in through the gas port so that it drops and aerates as it hits down there. We're not going through the beer line, which wouldn't create the aeration. Some people have asked that in the past, so that's us set up there. Continue to chill, and as this drops, I'll start wiping some of the scum off before it dries. That way it makes the cleanup a little bit quicker. Okay, so we are transferred in. We are sitting around about the 24 litre mark. Colour wise, yeah, I think that's going to lighten quite nicely. It's been pretty clear. Plenty of aeration, so we'll add the yeast in a little bit. Temperature wise, yeah, so it's currently at 18.6, so That's all good. Get everything progressed, and then it's just the cleanup. Lastly, but in no way leastly, add the yeast. I'm going to do this with one hand. Nope, we're not. So there we have it, yeast added, and now we just wait. Yellow snow. So I had to do that again for those of you that skipped forward, you know, and missed it the first time. So, what is yellow snow? In case we just round it up, roll it off again. Yellow snow is a oatmeal pale, although I've tried to brew it as a white stout. Originally, recipe was provided by Nick from the Anglian Craft Brewers Homebrew Club, and I tried to do it justice. Although my brew day did not actually go as well as it should have. My efficiencies were low, and this is stuff that I realised after the actual brew day. I think that I finished the brew day thinking it went okay, but the numbers were off and bits and pieces. But one of the things that I didn't realise was that it was meant to be a 90-minute boil. I had done a 60-minute boil, so my boiler volumes weren't right, which is why I ended up with quite a bit more at the end of it than I planned. But thanks to that, although we've ended up with a lower ABV beer, it means that I've got a full keg, which is going to be served at Packtoberfest. Yes, I've decided that this is going to be a Packtoberfest beer. That's going to be served through the hand pump, but so that we can get a sample of it, I also have a mini keg hooked up as well. So if you can see that from there, probably not, but in any case, we've got our mini keg hooked up as well, and we're going to be taking a sample from that. So as I say, the beer came out lower ABV than planned. It came out, I think, at 4.9%, and we were looking for approximately, I think, 5.7. So it's a fair old whack difference, but you know, it's one of those things. Now really, this needs to have been conditioned for a little bit longer, well, a lot longer really. It's only been in the keg for about a week and a half. There we go. Let's give you a little close up. So, nice creamy head. Colour, almost reddy orange. So definitely not white, but that's obviously not really, although I kept on saying white stout, but I think I just mean very light coloured, but stout feel. Oh, I don't know. I've had a bit of a day, to be honest. Today's been the double brew day, or the double batch double brew day. So it's gone okay, but I'm on the whirlpool at the moment, so I've got a little bit of time. I like that. I still like it. It's not as good as Nick's. It's not. I don't have the extra alcoholic bite that came with his. Is maybe a little bit missing, but still quite floral, spicy, bit berry flavours. A lot of mouthfeel on there, which again, if you watch the brew day footage, no, we did brew it at quite a high, or we mashed it at quite a high temperature. Yeast that we used was Nottingham ale yeast, and it's added some nice flavour. Yeah, I mean, I'm curious as to how it will come out through the hand pump. Obviously, we'll get a lot more head from the sparkler, but yeah, I mean, I've kept the mini keg at quite a low pressure as well, because I wanted it to kind of be similar. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty damn happy. I mean, obviously it's not clear, but I've not added any clearing agents to it. As the light kind of passes through it, you get a slightly more yellow tone, but it's got that real deep orange centre. I think people that like more traditional beers will like this a lot. Anyone that's after your hoppier beer, it's probably not going to be for them. This kind of, what does it say to me? I don't know, it says traditional but different. I mean, this was the first time that I'd used North Down hops. Would I use them again? Yes, I think I will. I only used a very small amount, like 15 grams or something. So, you know, maybe is that a hop that's worthwhile trying the waters out with some slightly bigger dosages? Dosages is a larger dosage. Yeah, maybe. I'm quite happy with that. Quite happy, really. I mean, I think I've gone from, so it's not got this, it's not got that. You know, brew day didn't go perfectly, but overall, still a very pleasant beer, and well deserved after a long day. So I'm going to go back into the brewery and check how that's gone. You know, not sure how much time I've got left on the whirlpool, but better be in there, so I'm ready for it. And yeah, crack on. Right now, guys, I've been Pat from Pat's Brewery, drinking some yellow snow. Cheers.